after all the holiday merrymakings and New Year revelry. The government welcomed the commuting public with a fare increase for the LRT lines 1 and 2 and MRT 3, a shocking 50% to 90% increase. Through a department order, the Department of Transportation and Communication, or DOTC, adopted a uniform distance-based fare scheme for all the 3 train lines of 11 pesos base fare plus 1 peso per kilometer. The fare increase is said to aid rehabilitation, maintenance, and expansion of the LRT and MRT that will eventually benefit its riders. But the fare hike critics slammed the move by mobilizing protests inside and outside the train stations.
Tutulan natin itong fare increase na ito, hindi ito makatarungan, hindi ito makatwiran.
They said that only private firms controlling the train system are likely to benefit from the fare hike. The alliance is currently challenging the fare increase before the Supreme Court. Welcome to Opposing Views, a hard, straightforward discussion of today's most pressing issues. The DOTC is dubbed by its critics as the Department of Backlogs, and after the train mishaps that happened recently, together with issues of corruption, their move for LRT and MRT fare hikes seem to aggravate the situation as commuter groups and even some legislators called to explain the said increase. So we ask tonight, is the MRT and LRT fare increase just and reasonable? Good evening, I'm Nepomuceno, and this is Opposing Views. All right, joining us tonight in our discussion is 4th District Representative of Cavite, Congressman Elpidio Barzaga. Congressman, good evening.
Good evening, Rad.
Yes, can you give us a summary, in 30 seconds, your position on this question? Are the fare increases just and fair and reasonable?
Well, sa tingin ko, tingnan natin yung overall picture. Kasi ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay subsidy ng pamahalaan sa LRT and MRT. At siguro, alam naman natin na nalulugi sa operasyon ng LRT at MRT. At base sa kanilang financial statements in 2013, LRT1 and LRT2 nalulugi ng approximately 3.6 billion at yung MRT ay mas malaki ang lugi, approximately 7 billion. In short, 10 billion ang lugi ng LRT at MRT sa loob ng isang taon, which the government has to subsidize. Minsan sa lalawigan ng Cavite, na marami rin namang manggagawa ang pumupunta sa Maynila, sumasakay sa bus. Ang tanong sa akin, Congressman, bakit kaming mga taga-Cavite walang subsidy ang ating pamahalaan kapag kami ay sumasakay sa mga buses? At alam nyo naman, yung subsidy na yan, nasa ngayon ay umabot ng 10 bilyon, saan ba kinukuha yan ng ating pamahalaan? Hindi ba sa taxes na aming binabayad? Why is it that the commuters na gumagamit ng LRT at MRT is in a privileged position as compared to us? Okay, so medyo nahihirapan akong sagutin. Ang sabi pa nga nila, alam nyo naman kung sobra traffic dito sa atin. Gigising kami ng alas 4 ng umaga, makakarating kami sa Maynila alas 8 ng umaga, sasakay pa kami ng tricycle, 15 pesos kuminsan, pag special, sasakay kami sa bus, 45 pesos hanggang Baclaran, makakarating kami sa opisina alas 8, uuwi kami ng alas 5, darating kami sa bahay alas 9 ng gabi. Pag alis namin, natutulog ang aming mga anak. Pagdating namin, natutulog ang aming mga anak. So, is this fair? Okay. Yun naman ang tanong nila sa akin. Okay. And it's very hard to answer all these questions.
Of course. Okay, Congressman PD, thank you very much. On the opposing side naman is Bayan Muna, Representative Congressman Nery Colmenares. Good evening, Congressman Nery.
Good evening, Rod. Good evening, Congressman PD.
Now, in 30 seconds, sum up your position. You think the fare increases are fair and reasonable?
Unjust and unreasonable, that's the basis of the petition. Una, hindi nalulugi ang LRT at MRT. Government has never claimed LRT is losing. 2.6 billion ang annual income sa ticket. Ang operation expense ng LRT is 1.1 billion. So kumikita. Saan nanggagaling yung lugi na yan? I'd like that explained mamaya. No? Bakit nalulugi? Mas malaki ang kita sa ticket kesa sa operating expense.
Right.
MRT, 2.1 billion ang kita sa ticket, revenue sales from the commuters. Ang operating expense is 1.8 billion. So paano nalugi ang MRT kung kumikita pala from revenues? Baka naman may pinagkakagastusan ng DOTC na hindi related sa MRT, LRT. Saan na pupuntang pera? 20.7 billion na ang binigay ng gobyerno. Sorry, 120.7 billion na ang ginastos ng gobyerno sa MRT. Pero tingnan mo naman ang serbisyo, talagang dismal. Secondly, yung posisyon ng gobyerno na pinag-aaway-away ang taong bayan na, sinasubsidize ng taga Visayas at Mindanao yung MRT o ng taga Cavite yung MRT, hindi naman namin nagagamit yan. Bakit naman gagawin yon? That's a very distorted and a very dangerous line. Why? Pag sinabi ng taga Visayas at taga Luzon, yung mga taga Mindanao, ginagastosan ng public funds namin ng Agus Pulangi Dam, yung kuryente niyan Mindanao lang. Dapat hindi. Yung taga Visayas, nag-fund sila ng LRT extension to Cavite. 8.8 billion pesos na ang na-fund ng LRT extension sa Cavite. And many of the people in Visayas, Mindanao, and even Metro Manila will say, hindi naman kami pupuntang Cavite. Why are we spending 8 billion for Cavite extension? To help the Cavite people? That's the wrong argument. Ang argument natin, pag kailangan ng Cavite ng extension, tulungan natin yan. Pag kailangan ng Mindanao ng subsidy sa kanilang ospital, kahit hindi tayo makonfine doon, tulungan natin yan. Pag kailangan magpagawa ng malaking kalsada sa Visayas, hindi naman tayo dadaan doon. Tulungan natin yun. Ganon dapat ang treatment.
The concern of one is the concern of all. No?
All right. Dapat, the other way around.
We've started off the year, obviously, with this issue at hand, no? And a lot of those who were taking the MRT and LRT were shocked, no? Even if there was a lot of information ahead of time. No? So let's start off with the first question, and I think ito yung main question that in most people's minds, no? Do we need to increase the MRT LRT fare? And I'd like to discuss a little later on, Congressman Neri, what do you mean by operational expense, operational cost, because maybe some people will not get that. So, but Congressman PD, do we need to increase the fares of MRT and LRT, and
Well,
why?
sa tingin ko, kinakailangan nating magkaroon ng increase. Because the government cannot fully subsidize everything. Siguro kung mga kalye, kung mga public hospital, and mga public schools, that would be an accepted primary obligation on the part of the government. Pero bigyan natin ng extra privileges ang mga commuters dito sa Metro Manila. Pagkatapos ang subsidy hindi lang naman 1 million, approximately 10 billion a year. And that would amount to 30 million pesos a day. At lahat naman ng subsidy ng gobyerno, itatanong natin sa ating mga kababayan, saan ba nanggagaling yung pera na ginagastos ng gobyerno para i-subsidize ang consumers? Sasabihin ng ordinaryong manggagawa na nasa mga probinsya, hindi naman kami sumasakay dyan sa MRT, pero kasama yung taxes na binabayad namin dyan sa 10 billion subsidy ng mga sumasakay sa LRT, MRT. Katulad nga ng nabanggit ni Congressman Colmenares, merong bagong LR2 line sa Cavite from Baclaran to Bacoor. Sasabihin ng mga kababayan ko sa Cavite, pati na kay Secretary Abaya, kung yung sa Metro Manila sinasubsidize nyo, dapat isubsidize nyo na rin yung fare namin dito sa paano makakapag-expand ang ating pamahalaan if that will be the policy. At ang sabi ko nga, based on the records, 2003 ang last increase. At lahat ng previous government hindi nagtaas.
So you're saying long overdue itong increase?
Long overdue. Lahat ng previous government, national government officials ay hindi nagtaas, not because they do not believe that the increase is proper and reasonable, but natatakot sila sa repercussion. I have been always saying that the government is not running in a popularity contest. Most of the times, the government has to make hard decisions which might be unpopular, but nonetheless necessary for the general welfare of our people.
Congressman Neri, mukhang sinabi nga ni Congressman PD, no, mukhang long overdue na. 2003 pa daw yung last fare increase. No? So do you think that in any operation, especially something like this, no, public transportation, every year, I guess, costs increase. Do you think it's fair naman na to have some increase? I know this is a kind of big increase, no? 50% to 90%. But since 2003, walang increase.
Well, Rad, there are many studies now on mass transportation and subsidy schemes all over the world. Kasi all governments subsidize their mass transport. Kailangan yan eh. If you're an owner of the building, you're a factory owner. Gusto mo ang worker mo, pag dumating sa opisina, sa 20th floor, rested para efficient. So you provide an elevator. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin, singilin ko kayo sa elevator kasi magastos yan sa akin. You want your citizens and your laborers efficiently traveling in your metropolis. Ngayon, there are many standards para mag-set ng rate hikes. One of which is distance. Distance-based, meaning to say, I don't care if you're rich or you're poor. As long as you get 1 kilometer, you pay. There's the user pay principle also. There's also the socialized principle, social just, depending on your capacity to pay. There are many standards. I've never heard of a standard which says, matagal nang hindi na-raise. So kahit hindi kailangan, i-raise mo. Kasi 10 years ago na ito. I mean, I've never heard that. And secondly, I've never heard of a standard which says, itaas natin kasi gagamitin natin sa ibang proyekto yung pondo. Which brings me to the point ng unjustness nito. They ask for 11.1 billion sa budget, supplemental, and even the GAA. Sabi nila for rehabilitation of MRT and LRT. Ang subsidy doon is 4 billion. Sabi namin, bakit kayo hihingi ng 4 billion pesos to subsidize the commuters? Ang binabayad ng commuters, at ito hindi nasasagot ng gobyerno ng klaro. Babayad ng commuters, sabi nga, 2.6 billion ang kita ng LRT, ang operation expense nyo is 1.1 billion. So covered ng commuter yung operating expense ng buong LRT,
So what subsidy
MRT. What subsidy? Ganon din sa MRT. Sabi nila, kasi alam nyo, may kontrata with the concessionaire.
The private
babayaran natin yung income tax niya ng 7 billion. Babayaran natin ang mga sovereign guaranteed loans niya. Sabi namin, so sinasubsidize nyo si concessionaire. Hindi yung taong bayan.
Okay.
So in reality, pumasok kayo sa agreement na maraming irregularities. Sabi ko nga, dapat yung nag-negotiate ng kontrata na yan ang mga public officials, ikulong eh. Saan ka nakakita ng kontrata? Income tax ng concessionaire, bayaran mo.
Alright.
I mean, nag-income na siya sa commuters, pati tax niya bayaran mo pa. So in reality, it's not true that there is a subsidy. Ang sinasubsidize dito ay ang illegal contracts ng gobyerno.
That's a good point, Congressman Nerio, but we need to take a short break. Meanwhile, you can join the debate via Twitter, via our social media, Facebook at facebook.com/opposingviews on 9TV, or tweet your thoughts at opposing_views. Use the hashtag #OVTrainFairHike. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're still watching Opposing Views. I'm Nepomuceno. We have with us 4th District Representative of Cavite, Congressman Elpidio Barzaga. And on the opposing side is Bayan Muna, Representative Neri Colmenares. Our debate question for tonight is the MRT and LRT fare increase just and reasonable? Now, just before the break, Congressman PD, si Congressman Neri was making a point na in the new budget for the 2015 national budget, 7 billion allotted for the rehabilitation of the MRT and 4 billion in subsidy. But he's making his point being that why the need for the 4 billion subsidy when in fact yung operationally from the revenue generated by the LRT and MRT covered na yung full fare of the commuters. So why the need for the 4 billion subsidy?
Well, unang-una, katulad nga ng sinabi ni Congressman Neri, aside from the operational expense, meron pa rin tayong operational expense regarding the expenses brought about by the contract which was entered into long ago.
Which was a legal contract.
Yes. Unang-una nga sinasabi nila, why not disregard this contract in order to remove the burden? Alam naman natin, pare-pareho tayong mga abogado. We have the provision in the Constitution that no law shall be passed impairing the obligation of the contract. No matter how bad is the contract, as long as it was entered into, we are bound by the contract.
But do you agree that the contract is bad?
Well, I have not seen the contract by itself. At pangalawa, there has been sovereign guarantee on the part of the people. We are living under the rule of international law that contracts entered into by the Philippine government, whoever is the president must be honored by the Philippine government, no matter how bad it is. Otherwise, mabablacklisted tayo sa international community. And therefore, under this aspect, wala na talagang magagawa ang administrasyon ni Presidente Aquino kundi i-honor yung mga contractual obligations no matter how onerous is that. And based on these provisions in the contract, talaga yung kinikita ng MRT at LRT ay hindi sufficient. And I wish to emphasize na ang nagtaas lamang ay LRT 1 on 2003. LRT 2, walang increase from the time that it started operations, at yun namang MRT 3, decreasing ang rates. So under this situation, ano gagawin natin? Shall the government dishonor its obligations under this contract? Or ipagpatuloy natin ang subsidy na 10 bilyon taon-taon na kung saan ang pamahalaan ay hindi na makakapag-improve o makakapag-develop ng bagong LRT system. At yun na naman sinasabi nating budget, that is for the maintenance.
Actually,
for the maintenance and for the improvement,
Rehabilitation.
Actually, una, ang contracts, pag onerous disadvantageous sa government, pwedeng i-void yan. In fact, under the Anti-Graft Act, it's pwede kang ma-ombudsman for entering into an
onerous contract.
Onerous. Secondly, ginagamit ng gobyerno ng subsidy. Government should know the definition of subsidy. Subsidy is financial assistance to the poor. Ito, you're paying the contract of the concessionaire. Binabayaran mo income tax niya, ina-adjust sa mamamayan. Pinasok niya yung kontratang yan, ipasa niyo sa amin. That's not subsidy. You're actually fulfilling your contractual
one pocket to
obligation.
another lang yun? Parang one pocket, I'm getting this money, and then I'm gonna pay
Actually,
the income tax, babalik din sa coffers ng government.
Yes. So parang walang income tax na na-earn yung gobyerno, di ba? So basically, it's not true to call it subsidy. In fact, I'm glad the government and Congressman PD has admitted it's to pay contractual obligations, di ba? Pangatlo, palagi na naming sinasabi na ang gobyerno should not enter into these contracts. Noon pa yan Pinasok talaga nila yan.
Even if but taking off from the argument nga of Congressman PD, we entered this contract. No matter how onerous, we have to honor these contracts.
Yes, and to think the MRT contract, ang project cost nun is 28 billion. Tinanong ko, magkano ang kapital ng pinrivatize nyo? Ito, ang kapital lang pala 7 billion Yung 21 billion inutang. So ba't pa natin pinrivatize? No? Thirdly, budget. Every year we give about 2 to 3 billion pesos to MRT, LRT operations. Operations sa maintenance nila. Kung kumikita ang MRT ng 2.1 billion at ang operating expense niya ay 1.8 billion, saan napunta yung budget para sa operating niya? Kumita na siya doon sa ticket, mayroon pa siyang budget for operations, nag-double entry na siya ngayon. We want an accounting of that. Dapat ma-account yan.
Yes, Congressman.
Malunguna, siguro hindi tama na sabihin na kumikita ang LRT, MRT. Sapagkat based on their financial statements, talagang nalulugi sila.
So where are you getting the conflicting ano?
The conflicting is that hindi nila sinasaman lahat ni Congressman Neri all the expenses for the operation of the LRT, including the obligations under the...
Kasama lahat ng operations. Yung obligation sa contract, sinasama ng gobyerno.
Okay, pangalawa, sinasabi nila na pwede tayong mag-file ng kaso sa ombudsman. That is true. That is true. Pwede tayong mag-file ng kaso sa ombudsman. Pero ang problema, even if the case would prosper in the ombudsman or in the Sandigan Bayan,
the contract is valid.
The contract would still be valid. The ombudsman and the Sandigan Bayan do not have the authority to declare the contract illegal. At most, the parties to the contract will be held liable. At higit sa lahat, merong sovereign guarantee ang Republic of the Philippines dito.
Well, actually, ang problema ng gobyerno, kasi hindi lang naman sa Sandigan Bayan, you can go to court and void the contract, di ba? RTC or Supreme Court. Ang problema lang dito talaga, ang gobyerno, instead na kalabanin si concessionaire, mga kaibigan namin, mayayaman yan ay ito, dito na lang tayo sa taong bayan. Kasi pag dito mo sila birahin, hindi aangal ang taong bayan, madaling ma-impose dito, dadaan pa tayo sa korte, di ba? So I guess
So they're
may
taking
bias.
the easier route.
Yeah, the easier route is to impose it on the public rather than kalabanin mo ang
Okay.
contract.
Now the government was quoted. I'll direct this question to both of you, gentlemen. The government was quoted last year, no, in saying that the pegged MRT LRT fare without state subsidy is around 50 pesos to 60 pesos. So do we expect another wave of increase with the amount of increase now? Will it help? And if ever, with this increase, will it help rehabilitate MRT and LRT knowing that it's far from the 50 peso, 60 peso peg na sinabi ng government na kailangan na charge natin for
Yan nga
MRT, LRT?
yan ngang isyong yan ang nahihirapan akong ipaliwanag sa aking mga kababayan. Bakit ang nakabi rito sa Cavite 45 pesos from Dasmariñas to Baclaran? Nagtitiyaga kami ng 3 o 4 na oras gawa ng traffic. Samantalang sa LRT, MRT, increase from 15 pesos to 25 pesos, only an increase of 10 pesos, ang travel time nila ay 30 minutes. And therefore, I think there should be a radical change in the policy of the government. Talagang kung ano ang dapat bayaran o shoulder ng commuter. As I was a former mayor, and my city is the 8th largest city in the Philippines. I have been always telling to the poor constituents of my city na ang sabi ko, lahat tayo ay may pananagutan, no matter how poor we are, no matter how rich we are. We are living in a society where every one of us has a shared responsibility. Kaya lahat tayo may pananagutan, wag nating ipasa sa lahat wag nating ipasa ang lahat ng burden sa ating pamalan.
Okay, Congressman Neri, yung legality part of it,
Yes.
no? I think you were talking about, let's talk about the legal aspect. Kasi people are complaining because, of course, it's gonna, the expense for them, the burden for them is tougher. But let's set that aside, no? Yung emotional side of it and perhaps the financial side of it. But then on the legal side, you think this fare increase was legal and the process where they had increased it was the proper way to do it?
No, it's not legal. The first issue is, yung 50 pesos, yung sinasabi ng gobyerno, 50 pesos ang cost. Matagal ko nang hiningi ang breakdown yan. And maybe, I don't think Congressman Barsaga can also break it down. Because the government has no breakdown. Bakit 50 pesos yan? Can you tell me that? Hindi nila ma-breakdown.
They just came up with it?
They just came out with it. Pero actually, kinalculate namin. Kung ang income mo ay 2.1 billion, for example, o 2.6 billion, ang operating cost mo ay only this much, no, 1.1 billion. Ang 15 pesos na fare ng commuter, ang gastos doon is 9 pesos. So kumikita ng 6 pesos, for every commuter ang LRT, MRT. So hindi sinasubsidize ng gobyerno, ang commuter ang nagsubsidize sa operation ng MRT.
And sinasubsidize ng commuter yung obligation ng government.
Ang nangyari, yung 6 pesos na nakuha ng gobyerno, sinasubsidize pala yung kontrata pa lalo. Kasi double entry sila eh. May operating expense na sila kuha sa kinikita sa commuters, meron pa silang
And that's the reason why you think the increase is illegal?
And secondly, walang hearing. Walang hearing ito. And I don't think any public official can support a fare hike na walang hearing. I mean, if it is imposed in anywhere, in the province or in any other district, pag ako, magagalit din ako na walang hearing, nagpataas ka ng pamasahe.
I need to pause at that point. No?
Yes.
The fact that there's no hearing, and I'll ask Congressman Pidi's opinion on this. But in the meantime, we need to take a short break once again. Keep tweeting and posting comments on our social media pages. More issues on the recent MRT and LRT fare hike when we return. You're watching Opposing Views. We'll be right back.
Sa akin okay lang kasi mas better kasi mag-MRT than mag-bus. So sa bus kasi mas mahal pa rin yung pamasahe.
Kung hindi naman susubukan, di ba wala rin. Kailangan makita muna natin. Mag-sacrifice din tayo para sa ng MRT.
Parang ino-hold up mga tao sa LRT. 30 na pamasahe, dating 15.
Sa akin,
okay lang kung tataas kung hindi ganun kahirap yung sakayan. Kaso siksikan pa rin eh. Kaya kumbaga parang nasa tao na lang kung gusto nilang magano. Eh, ngayon pag jeep naman, medyo matagal pero hindi naman ganun kasiksikan.
Pila pa rin. Pero mabilis ang taas ng presyo.
Kawawa mga pasahero, tsaka trabado, mga empleyado.
Hindi ako agree nga magtaas. Kahit na 5 piso lang sana dapat. Pero pag sobra-sobra naman, sobra naman.
Pupunta ako ng Santa Cruz, 15 binayaran ko sa jeep kanina. Medyo nakatipid ako ng 5 peso.
Welcome back. You're still watching Opposing Views. I'm Nepomuceno. Still with us, 4th District Representative of Cavite, Congressman Elpidio Barzaga, and Bayan Muna Representative Neri Colmenares. And our question for this evening is the MRT and LRT fare increase just and reasonable? Now, just before the break, Congressman Neri was making a point. The fact that we had this fare increase happened without a proper hearing. Proper hearing, and anytime that such a thing should happen, it is required by law that there should be a hearing. A notice and hearing. Now, Congressman PD, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, unang-una, hindi siguro tama na sabihin na walang public hearing. Because I have scanned some of the news report and I was able to read. Nabasa ko na noong February 4 and 5, February 4 and 5, 2011, nagkaroon ng public hearing and even Bayan was there. They even presented a position paper in writing opposing the fare hike. Pangalawa, nagkaroon din ng public hearing noong December 12, 2013. And as a result of that public hearing, ang sabi ng DOTC, gusto nilang i-implement na yung increase at the start of the year of 2014. Unfortunately, hinold back nila sapagkat nagkaroon ng increase sa electricity. At ang sabi nga ng DOTC sa ngayon, considering na bumaba na ang presyo ng langis sa merkado, it's about time na i-increase natin ang LRT and MRT fare. At pangalawa, yung sinasabi ni Congressman Colmenares that based on the operations, tumutubo ang LRT or MRT, hindi na naman nila isinasama yung commitment ng ating pamahalaan under the contract which they consider the provisions to be burdensome. Pag sinama mo lahat ang obligasyon ng LRT, MRT, siguradong malulugi tayo. Eh saan natin isasama yung expenses under the contract? Of course, it will be part of the operational expenses. Hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin that that will be capital expenses.
Yeah. Is it fair to say that where the difference lies here is that in your case, you're saying that the operational expense, yung operation lang, hindi kasama yung contractual obligations.
Kasi ang ginagamit nila, Rod, is subsidy. So hindi subsidy yung ibabayad mo sa concessionaire. That's not subsidy. Go around the world, the definition of subsidy, assistance mo sa mahihirap.
Question, if they change the term from subsidy to payment of contractual obligations.
So it's not true that it's subsidized.
So you're saying there's a, I guess, a misinformation?
The essence of misinformation. But secondly, hearing, notice and hearing. Ang sabi, 2011 may hearing. Is it acceptable sa atin? I mean, we're lawyers. Nag-hearing noong 2011, i-impose mo ng 2015. Can you imagine that? The backlash. 1 year later, pwedeng mag-increase sila ng pamasahe ng jeep, pamasahe ng eroplano. Sabihin nila, ng 2012, nag-hearing naman tayo. No. May fair anticipation, the reasonable expectation ang term dyan sa standards ng law. Public must have a reasonable expectation na i-increase siya. Hindi yung sasabihin mo, in 2011, nag-hearing na tayo. No, you have to hold a hearing, notice and hearing, parang wala kang notice nun. Pangalawa, can DOTC actually hold a hearing? I mean, if you're Meralco, you want to impose a rate hike, you go to ERC. If you're a bus operator, you want a rate hike sa bus, you go to LTFRB. DOTC wants a rate hike, he goes to DOTC. Is that a hearing? No. DOTC doesn't even have a jurisdiction to hold a hearing because it's not a regulatory body.
So how should the hearing
It's illegal. There is no hearing at all. And I don't know if the Malacanang has a legal luminary who can say that DOTC is...
what would have been the proper process, though, for the hearing?
For me, there should have been a hearing sa mga regulatory bodies. For example, land transportation, franchising, LTFRB, land. So rail is included. Look at the mandate of DOTC. Does it have a regulatory function of increasing rates? No. So it is impossible for DOTC to hold the hearing. In fact, I went to the OTC and I said, what's your procedure for filing an opposition? Wala silang procedure. Kasi hindi sila regulatory body like ERC.
So the only way to do it is through the courts?
Either you go to the LTFRB or I don't know, if they have it's something that they should go to an independent body. How can the OTC, party siya sa kontrata sa MRT, LRT, the one who will also regulate and say, oh, we have decided to increase the rates. No, parang ang Meralco, hindi na siya pumunta sa ERC, sabi niya na lang sa sarili niya, we have decided to increase the rates. Is that fair? Of course not.
Congressman PD, what are your thoughts on that? No?
Unang-una sa issue ng jurisdiction, I think it will be wrong to compare the case with the case of Meralco. Sapagkat sa Meralco, talaga naman meron tayong ERC, and that is expressly provided in the law. Pangalawa, kung sasabihin ng aking kaibigan, si Kong Neri, na pumunta tayo sa LTFRB, sigurado ko from the very start ko questionin na ni Congressman Neri ang jurisdiction ng LTFRB. Sapagkat pare-pareho naman tayong manananggol, alam natin ang jurisdiction ng LTFRB is regarding price hike doon sa meron silang mga prangkisa. Wala namang prangkisa ang LRT o MRT coming from LTFRB. Pangatlo, this is not the first time na nagkakaroon ng increase ang LRT. There was an increase in 2003. The same procedure was followed in 2003, ginawa rin ng DOTC, and although the increase was only 2 pesos, nobody questioned the jurisdiction
Wala pa kami
and the
noon.
process.
Yeah.
No, but bayan mo na participated
noon.
in the consultation in the 2011 February 4, February 5 hearing. As a matter of fact, nagkaroon sila ng written position paper. So
During that time?
Yes, during the time.
Okay.
So, kung titingnan natin ang president, I think the OTC, as a lawyer, sinunod nila ang procedure which was followed before. Kaya ang tinatanong ko kay Congressman Neri, kung gusto natin ng hearing, anong government body ang merong jurisdiction para mag-hear ng fair increase sa LRT at
Klaro
MRT?
ang Supreme Court decisions dyan, Rod, jurisdiction can only be conferred by law. And the law that created the DOTC did not confer that jurisdiction. But in any case, fair due process na lang, due process. Is it fair na merong hearing noong 2011, tapos, nagsampa naman ng position paper ang ilan? Walang notice yun. That was a consultation nga ang term ng DOTC. Let's have a public forum to discuss the pros and cons.
So in other words, there was no clear process.
No
Now,
clear
let's talk about, let me shift gears a bit. Let's talk about benefit. Do you think, Congressman PD, that this fare increase will really benefit the consumers, or do you think it will just benefit the private corporations that were part of the consortium?
Well, unang-una, pag tinignan natin yung benefit ng private corporation, all of them are already in the contract. And therefore, we cannot increase whatever amount which they have to receive other than what is stipulated in the
They're just
contract.
benefiting based on the contract. Okay.
Yes. Pangalawa, kung ipagpapatuloy ito ng ating pamahalaan, I don't think that the government will be able to rehabilitate or to improve the LRT and MRT system as well as to expand it.
So you're saying with this increase, there will definitely be an improvement on the services?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Congressman Neri, you think that this is
nung wala pa
that
yung
solution?
increase, Rod, sabi nila, bigyan nyo kami ng budget, bigyan nyo kami ng 11 billion, i-improve yung mga riles. Tapos, imagine hinintay nila yung December 17, kung kailan namin inaprubahan yung budget nila sa operation, sa rehabilitation. December 18, yun ang petsa ng kanilang resolution to increase. Hindi nila, alam na nila noon pa they will increase in January. Hindi nila sinabi nung November, hindi sinabi nung December. Hinintay nilang ma-approve yung operating expense, yung rehab. Tapos ngayon sabihin nila may rate increase. So sinadya nila. Yung pangalawa, may savings daw silang 2 billion pesos. Saan pupunta yon? Sa mga projects daw na importante sa ibang probinsya. Sabi namin, gagawin nyo pang pork barrel yung commuters rate hike? Kasi what does it mean? May pork barrel ngayon na 2 billion ang Malacanang na sinong paborito kong governor o congressman o senador dyan? Ito, project mo yan, project mo. Inalat yan ng Kongreso for rehab ng MRT. I-realign mo as savings. Is di ba DAP yun? You artificial
so in a way, it's like PDAF.
Yes.
Now, last year we saw a train that overshot the railway, Congressman PD, and Kong Neri, a train moving with one door open, and among other glitches. Do we expect a safer MRT, LRT, now that fare increases have been placed? And then I'll ask also Kong Neri if you have the same expectation.
Well, based on the statement of the OTC, with this increase, they would be able to improve or rehabilitate yung mga bago natin at saka yung mga relays. So it's a question of, ang lagi nating problema, yung usual question, which comes first, chicken or the egg? Magtataas ba muna tayo o kinakailangan magawa muna kayo? Pag sinabi naman na ayusin yung relays at bagon, kasabihin naman ng DOTC, kulang ang aming pondo. Sapagkat mismong sa operasyon, we are losing 7 billion a year for MRT and 3 billion for LRT, LRT1. Kung sa operation, lugi na kami ng 10 billion sa isang taon, paano pa mare-rehabilitate namin yan?
Yeah. Now, Kong Neri, there's an argument nga that safety is an issue here, no? So therefore we really have to increase because of these things that happen.
That has always been the argument of Malacanang. In 2011, 3 billion for the rehab repairs. In 2012, 6.2 billion for the rehab and repairs. 2013, 4 billion. 2015, 4 billion. Every year may rehab. Tapos sabihin nila, kasi makasave tayo ng 2 billion sa rate hike. Ito na yung pag-asa ma-rehab. Hindi nyo nga na-rehabilitate sa halos 20 billion ng binigay. Saan napuntang perang yon? So, I don't believe na itong rate hike na to, yan ang dahilan para magkaroon ng bagong relays.
Because there have been a lot of
may budget na kasi for the relays.
May 120 billion yata na plinis, di ba?
And in fact, Malacanang stated today that even without the fare hike, sabi nila, the upgrading will come kasi may budget doon. So yung sinasabi ni Secretary Abaya na kailangan natin to para pagandahin ang it's not true. It's not true.
All right, we need to take a short break. Don't go away. When we come back, the final points of our guests and the results of our ongoing online poll on the issue. Stay tuned. You're watching Opposing Views. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Opposing Views. I'm Nepomuceno, and still with us, 4th District Representative of Cavite, Congressman Elpidio Barzaga, and Bayan Muna Representative Neri Colmenares. And our question for tonight is the MRT and LRT fare increase just and reasonable? Now, we've been discussing the fairness and the legality of this fare increase, this very controversial fare increase for the LRT and MRT. Now, I think one question that is going on around in social media as well as, I guess, conversations among different groups, should we not just privatize this MRT and LRT? Because a lot of people are saying maybe that's not the government's competence. Perhaps we should just give it to the private sector and maybe and let the, I guess, economic forces come into play. So I'll ask the question first to Congressman PD. Do you think that we should privatize na lang this MRT and LRT?
Well, personally, based on my experience as a public official, being a former mayor, ang tingin ko, the government really should not run any business. And I think it would
including public transportation?
Including public transportation. Kasi sa public utilities, nakita na natin, Meralco, privatized. Tubig, privatized. Why not i-privatize na rin natin itong mass public transport natin? At pangalawa, unfair naman to sa mga operators ng buses, sa operators ng jeepneys, sa operators ng tricycle. They do not get any subsidy from the government. And yet, they are adversely affected by the MRT, LRT system.
Okay. Kong Neri, your thoughts? You think kailangan ng privatize itong LRT and MRT?
May mga function ang gobyerno na hindi pwedeng i-privatize. Transportation, kuryente, tubig, health, hindi pwedeng i-privatize.
Although, as point nga ni Kong
trabaho yan.
Privatize na yung electricity.
Yun ang tanong ko sa gobyerno. Ayaw mo palang gawin yung function ng gobyerno, ba't ka pa tumakbo? Huwag ka nang tumakbo. Gawin mo ang function ng gobyerno.
Which is providing basic
necessities. Pag privatization yan, profit is the main orientation. Public service is an afterthought. I mean, it's secondary. Sabi nila kasi inefficient ang gobyerno pag gobyerno. O hindi i-whip mo. Bantayan mo, i-regulate mo pag gobyerno. MRT, pinrivatize, tingnan mo ang nangyari. Diba? Napaka-inefficient, wala talagang kalatoy-latoy ang serbisyo. Nothing. LRT, hindi na privatize yan. Government yan. Mas maayos pa kaysa MRT. Mas malaki pang ang kita. So, wala akong nakitang privatization where the people really benefit. Talagang mataas ang presyo ng serbisyo and, hindi naman efficient. Sabi nila, ang tubig daw maging efficient. Hindi naman naging efficient. Malaki pa rin yung systems loss. Mahal pa rin, di ba? So, I guess, main reason dito is this. You do not privatize basic commodities like transportation, etc.
No, that's a basic need. All right. Yeah. Now, can the government assure us that amid the transportation problems that are going on, no? Can the government assure that there would not be any more backlogs and there going to be an improvement in the MRT and LRT functions moving forward?
Well, unang-una, Rod, I have been always saying that practically there is no assurance insofar as big issues like this are concerned. But nonetheless, we have to trust the government. We must give confidence to the government. Sapagkat pag hindi pa tayo nagtiwala sa pamahalaan, ano na ang mangyayari sa atin? At pangalawa, in the event that the government would not be able to fulfill yung assurance nila sa publiko na maayos ang mga lires at mga bagon. That does not mean that the public does not have any remedy. Elections will be coming in 2016, and definitely, whatever failures the present government would suffer right now, definitely there will be a negative impact on each candidate. And I don't think the president wants to have that situation.
Yeah. Kong Neri, do you think that that's a solution? That if the people are not happy with this fare increase, they just elect another set of politicians in 2016 and punish the incumbents? You think yun ang best solution, or you think we should really fight for this?
We'll fight for this kasi the principle of privatization kay opposition o administrasyon pareho eh. So kahit saan ka pupunta Gloria Arroyo man yan o Aquino man yan, they have the same track dito sa economy eh.
Yeah.
So I think, look, hindi pwedeng i-privatize mo ang mga certain thing. PGH, i-privatize mo. So, ibig sabihin, pag pumunta pala doon yung mahirap, bahala ka nang gumastos. No. Talagang hindi pwedeng payagan natin.
Yes, Kong PD. Yeah.
Well, Congressman Nery Colmenares mentioned about PGH. Dapat natin napaliwanag sa ating mga mamamayan na hindi lahat ng bedroom sa PGH ay charity ward.
Merong subsidy.
Maraming private room, may binabayaran doon, etc.
Yeah, this is
it's not completely free.
And that's what's wrong with that program. So I guess yun na nga ang policy framework ng gobyerno na privatization. And in fact, I haven't seen any privatization that really benefited the people, and probably MRT is the epitome of what is evil in privatization.
Now by this year, experts say that passengers riding the MRT would be around 1.2 million. Now, is the government ready for this? And is this the reason why we need this fare increase?
Well, nabasa ko sa pahayagan na bibili ng, I think, 40 bagon ang ating pamahalaan by September this year. And I think with this new bagon, baka sufisyente na yan para to meet the needs of our commuters.
Now, Kong Neri,
they should. Binigyan sila ng budget for that, so dapat
really
bilhin nila yan.
So assuming that you are filing a petition, or you filed a petition already,
yes.
and assuming that this is granted, what are the next steps? So what happens moving forward? So do we keep the MRT as is, and
yes,
a lot of people are not happy with the services right now, right?
Yes, kaya siya may budget palagi. Ngayon, pag ang gobyerno, binibigyan na natin ng budget yung DOTC, palpak pa rin ang serbisyo, talagang sisingilin ng Malacanang dito. I mean, hindi pwedeng, papalpak-palpak sila dyan, privatize na lang natin. Kasi nakita naman natin yung impact
All right. Okay. All right. So we have only a few minutes left. It's been an interesting conversation so far with Kong PD and, of course, Kong Neri. I'd like to get your final words. Now, Kong PD, you start first. Please tell our viewers why we need to have this fare increase.
Well, being a former mayor, ang lagi ko nga sinasabi sa aking mga kababayan, the government cannot provide for everything. Meron tayong bagay na dapat we have to be responsible. Kasi kung hihingi nating libre lahat sa gobyerno, I don't think that the Philippines do not have the resources to provide all the needs of our countrymen. At pangalawa, we are living in a democratic society. And therefore, there should be fair competition. Pag gobyerno ang nagpapatakbo ng isang negosyo, the competition will no longer be fair. Katulad nga ng sinasabi ng MRT, maganda ang takbo sapagkat panay ang tulong ng gobyerno. At pangatlo, Pag mga ganyang gobyerno ang nagpapatakbo, alam natin there has been always changes in the national leadership every 6 years. Pag bago ang Pangulo, bagong lahat ang mga key officials in the government, including LRT at MRT, nawawala ang continuity. At higit sa lahat, pag gobyerno ang nagpapatakbo ng isang negosyo, katulad ng LRT or MRT, medyo a little bit carefree ang ating mga officials because in case na magkaroon ng losses, hindi sila ang magsasuffer ng losses, hindi sila ang malulugi. It will be the public, our taxpayers, who will be sharing the burden, no matter how small you are.
Thank you very much, Congressman Elpidio Barzaga. And of course, Congressman Neri, your final words to our televiewers.
Maraming pera ang gobyerno. Kailang napupunta sa pork barrel, napupunta sa PDAF. 120 billion ginastos ng gobyerno para sa MRT contract, para sa concessionaire. Isang gobyerno ba yan na walang pera? Pero yung manggagawa na nagbabiyahe sa MRT, sisingilin mo ng mataas na pamasahe. 67% of those who ride MRT and LRT earn below the minimum wage. Can you imagine the impact, no? Pag siningil mo sila ang Amerika, ha, ng 20% ng daily income nila, siningil mo sila sa tren at $100 ang daily minimum wage nila doon, siningil mo sila ng $20, nako, magre-revolusyon yung Amerika. Dito, 300 pesos ang daily income mo below minimum wage, 30 pesos papunta, 30 pesos pabalik, 20%. Really unacceptable. Maraming pera ang gobyerno, hindi pwedeng singilin sa taong bayan, lalo na't ang dahilan naman kung bakit sinasabi nilang nalulugi ay dahil sa mga irregular na kontratang pinasukan nila.
Thank you very much, Congressman Neri. And that's it. Thanks to our guests, Congressman Elpidio Barzaga and Bayan Muna Representative Neri Colmenares. Now let's see the results of our online poll. We asked you, our televiewers, is the MRT and LRT fare increase just and reasonable? Those who answered yes, it's fair, 40%, and those who answered no, 60%. And that's our opposing views for tonight. Tune in again next week for another bold and engaging discussion on today's most relevant issues. I'm Nepomuceno. Good night and God bless.
Kung sagutin. Ang sabi pa nga nila, alam nyo naman kung sobra traffic dito sa atin. Gigising kami ng alas 4 ng umaga, makakarating kami sa Maynila alas 8 ng umaga, sasakay pa kami ng tricycle, 15 pesos kuminsan, pag special, sasakay kami sa bus, 45 pesos hanggang Baclaran, makakarating kami sa opisina alas 8, uwi kami ng alas 5, darating kami sa bahay alas 9 ng gabi. Pag alis namin, natutulog ang aming mga anak. Pagdating namin, natutulog ang aming mga anak. So, is this fair? Yun naman ang tanong nila sa akin. And it's very hard to answer all these questions.
Of course. Okay, Congressman PD, no? Thank you very much. On the opposing side naman is Bayan Muna Representative Congressman Neri Colmenares. Good evening, Congressman Neri.
Good evening, Rod. Good evening, Congressman PD.
Now, in 30 seconds, sum up your position. You think the fare increases are fair and reasonable?
Unjust and unreasonable, that's the basis of the petition. Una, hindi nalulugi ang LRT at MRT. Government has never claimed LRT is losing. 2.6 billion ang annual income sa ticket. Ang operation expense ng LRT is 1.1 billion. So kumikita. Saan nanggagaling yung lugi na yan? I'd like that explained mamaya. No? Bakit nalulugi? Mas malaki ang kita sa ticket kesa sa operating expense. MRT, 2.1 billion ang kita sa ticket, revenue sale.
Kasi ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay subsidy ng pamahalaan sa LRT and MRT. Sa LRT and MRT. At siguro alam naman natin na nalulugi sa operasyon ng LRT at MRT. At base sa kanilang financial statements in 2013, LRT1 and LRT2 nalulugi ng approximately 3.6 billion at yung MRT ay mas malaki ang lugi, approximately 7 billion. In short, 10 billion ang lugi ng LRT at MRT sa loob ng isang taon, which the government has to subsidize. Minsan sa lalawigan ng Cavite, na marami rin namang manggagawa ang pumupunta sa Maynila, sumasakay sa bus. Ang tanong sa akin, Congressman, bakit kaming mga taga-Cavite walang subsidy ang ating pamahalaan kapag kami ay sumasakay sa mga buses. At alam nyo naman, yung subsidy na yan, na sa ngayon ay umabot ng 10 bilyon, saan ba kinukuha yan ng ating pamahalaan? Hindi ba sa taxes na aming binabayad? Why is it that the commuters na gumagamit ng LRT at MRT is in a privileged position as compared to us? So medyo nahihirapan ako.
From the commuters. Ang operating expense is 1.8 billion. So paano nalugi ang MRT kung kumikita pala from revenues? Baka naman may pinagkakagastusan ng DOTC na hindi related sa MRT LRT. Saan na pupuntang pera? 20.7 billion na ang binigay ng gobyerno. 120.7 billion na ang ginastos ng gobyerno sa MRT. Pero tingnan mo naman ang serbisyo, talagang dismal. Secondly, yung posisyon ng gobyerno na pinag-aaway-away ang taong bayan na, sinasubsidize ng taga-Visayas at Mindanao yung MRT o ng taga-Cavite yung MRT, hindi naman namin nagagamit yan. Bakit naman gagawin yon? That's a very distorted and a very dangerous line. Why? Pag sinabi ng taga-Visayas at taga-Luzon, yung mga taga-Mindanao, ginagastosan ng public funds namin ng Agus Pulangi Dam, yung kuryente niyan, Mindanao lang. Dapat hindi. Yung taga-Visayas, nag-fund sila ng LRT extension to Cavite. 8.8 billion pesos na ang na-fund ng LRT extension sa Cavite. And many of the people in Visayas, Mindanao, and even Metro Manila will say, hindi naman kami pupuntang Cavite. Why are we spending 8 billion for Cavite extension? To help the Cavite people? That's the wrong argument. Ang argument natin, pag kailangan ng Cavite
makatiran.
They said that only private firms controlling the train system are likely to benefit from the fare hike. The alliance is currently challenging the fare increase before the Supreme Court. Welcome to Opposing Views, a hard, straightforward discussion of today's most pressing issues. The DOTC is dubbed by its critics as the Department of Backlogs. And after the train mishaps that happened recently, together with issues of corruption, their move for LRT and MRT fare hikes seem to aggravate the situation as commuter groups and even some legislators called to explain the said increase. So we ask tonight, is the MRT and LRT fare increase just and reasonable? Good evening, I'm Nepomuceno, and this is Opposing Views. All right, joining us tonight in our discussion is 4th District Representative of Cavite, Congressman Elpidio Barzaga. Congressman, good evening.
Good evening, Rad.
Yes, can you give us a summary, in 30 seconds, your position on this question? Are the fare increases just and fair and reasonable?
Well, sa tingin ko, tingnan natin yung overall picture.
After all the holiday merrymakings and New Year revelry, the government welcomed the commuting public with a fare increase for the LRT lines 1 and 2 and MRT 3, a shocking 50% to 90% increase. Through a department order, the Department of Transportation and Communication, or DOTC, adopted a uniform distance-based fare scheme for all the 3 train lines of 11 pesos base fare plus 1 peso per kilometer. The fare increase is said to aid rehabilitation, maintenance, and expansion of the LRT and MRT that will eventually benefit its riders. But the fare hike critics slammed the move by mobilizing protests inside and outside the train stations.
Tutulan natin itong fare increase na ito, hindi ito makatarungan, hindi